Mexica cultural dance has managed to survive through time despite centuries of colonization and oppression. The 1492 quote-unquote discovery by Christopher Columbus marked the beginning of a long and painful history of European imperialism in the Americas. Hernan Cortes's arrival in the 1500s after defiant order from the self-proclaimed governor of Cuba marked the beginning of the end of the indigenous empire at the time, as he and his soldiers managed a brutal campaign of conquest and colonization. In the centuries that followed, indigenous communities across the Americas were subjected to cultural genocide and forced assimilation as European powers sought to eradicate their traditional ways of life. The Mexica were no exception, as the doctrine of discovery was imposed through colegios or schools that aimed to strip them of their language, religion, and cultural practices. Despite these challenges, Mexica cultural dance has remained an important part of indigenous communities throughout Mexico. It is a way of connecting with their ancestors and preserving their cultural heritage. Each step and each gesture tells a story about their history and their people. But Mexica cultural dance is not just about preserving the past. It is also a way of celebrating present and building a sense of community. For the members of Calpulli Tlatelolco and other groups, it is a way of finding a sense of belonging and a purpose in their lives. As Calpulli Tlatelolco settles into their new home, we will witness the struggles and trials of practicing Mexica cultural dance in the modern world. Mexica cultural dance may have faced many challenges throughout history, but its resilience and importance to indigenous communities continue to inspire and connect people today.
So Calpulli Tlatelolco, Calpulli is a group of individuals. You know, back in the day there were little Calpullis back in the Mexica times. Tlatelolco is the sister city of Tenochtitlan and the city where I was born. I was born in Tenochtitlan, but Tlatelolco is like the neighboring area. Now it's all encompassed in Mexico City, Mexico Tenochtitlan. So Tlatelolco is especially important because it's the last place where our people actually, it was the last stand against the Spaniards, where our people got together, led by Huatemotzin, or last Tlatoani, or last leader, and they went at it. You know, they fought until the end, right there in Tlatelolco. Tlatelolco is also a very important place of mourning because on October the 2nd, 1968, there was a massacre of students that were, you know, having a meeting, and the government actually go ahead and massacre by using the military in Mexico City. So a lot of people died that day. Another sad part that happened in Tlatelolco is back in 1985, there was a huge earthquake in Mexico City that rattled the entire city, killing, I think it was about 10,000 people, and it hit Tlatelolco. So Tlatelolco has this sad history of cultural events that changed the history of our country, or Mexico, but it's also a place of gathering. It's a place of you know, getting together in community and see what we can do. You know, like it's a place of resistance. It really is. Tlatelolco is a place of resistance. So that's the symbol.
I dance so that our ancestors' stories are never to be forgotten. It's a reminder of who we are and where we come from. It's my connection to my ancestors and to the land and to our people. You know, we practice at Sunset, we practice at Winchester, but, you know, our communities on the east side, like our raza, our people. So being on this side, it's a lot easier, and it's a lot easier for our people to come. You know, you walk outside these doors and it's like you see our neighborhoods of our people, and it's just like, this is where we belong. So we just feel at home. And I feel like we're closer for our people to be there.
I just barely started, so I'm not even a core member, but I'm just a member that's just coming to dance to participate with the culture and to learn and grow. I heard about the group. It's a nice little story, actually, since my background, I'm a Bashi Mescalero from my mom's side and Yaqui on my dad's side. And so I'm a gourd dancer before, and I just feel that through my prayer and through ceremony that I do and where I've traveled around talking to my elders and to other indigenous people, that I've had a connection. So I just was scrolling through social media one day, and I saw a post that they had posted through Calpulli saying they had like an open circle, come and dance, come and learn, and that type of deal. And so I said, you know what, let me go check it out. It's kind of a calling for me. I had like a calling for it. Felt really comfortable with it. So I came out on one Saturday, met him at Sunset Park. And from there I met Ingrid, who was the captain, introduced me to the core members, and they greeted me very warmly, very, very generously. I felt really, really comfortable, great connection. And from there I've been with them ever since. I've probably been doing it maybe like 4 or 5 months now with them, on and off, at Sunset Park, and we have been just very thankful to be here now for like maybe a short time now, like maybe a month. So just thankful for the opportunity to meet them and to dance with them.
I feel that allowing us to have a space is really allowing us to send ripples out there so that future generations can be inspired, so that the next generation of danzantes can come and learn, and then they can teach their children. I see that this is going to be a generational thing. I meet people from like LA who have been dancing for 5 generations. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that here in Vegas, we have people who are now having their children dance, and that's 3rd generation. So by having a space, we're able to actually continue that tradition, and we're able to prosper as a community and as a people. You definitely have times where the culture is, at an all-time high, and then it kind of goes down. But that's like anything, everything's like a roller coaster ride. You're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows. But also too, just in general, like, as a community, we've had to like hold people accountable for not being their best selves. And what I've learned from being in indigenous circles is that we don't call people out, we call people in. And I feel like our challenges have turned into strengths because it's shown us how to be better people and how we can grow and be better community.
The stuff that we struggled as a whole, as a group, is that realizing that in a Calpulli, it's about brotherhood and sisterhood. It's about holding each other accountable for a lot of things. And we've all had and dealt with a lot of trauma in our past. And for us to come out of that and be vulnerable in this circle, it's hard. It's holding each other accountable for a lot of things. It's being vulnerable. It's being open with each other. It's not just walking away. It's about finding solutions, talking it through, and be, one when it's when we're dancing.
Danza is a commitment. Sometimes people wanna, just come in and learn a little bit, and they don't stick to it. However, the way I see it is that it's, it's a discipline. Dance is to be taken seriously. It takes a lot, for you to work on it, or regalia, or feathers. Everything has a meaning to us, So when you put that time and dedication to something that is so beautiful and it's going to enrich your life, it requires effort. So I think the challenge that we face will be effort. To invite people, but also for them to think that, it's not just, it's a discipline. So it takes time to learn and patience.
And Ingrid's definitely my mentor. Like, when I was given this position, the one thing I asked her is to, be patient with me and, throw all the knowledge you have, and like, I'll be there. Like, just tell me what I need to do. But honestly, she's been my mentor since day one. 3 years ago? Almost 2.5 years ago, I met her right before their first Mexica New Year's. And she was like, okay, you're going to just jump in. I was like, all right. And I ended up doing the Mexica New Year's that week with only 3 days of practice.
Antonieta Sihuateteo Moctezuma. My mom is a beautiful indigenous woman that since I was a very little girl, taught me about my culture. She made me feel proud of my roots. She always talk about brown is beautiful. You're indigenous, so embrace your indigeneity. Be proud of who you are. And I think that me as a mother now, I get to pass on that to my daughter and to the members of the circle to be proud of who they are. We no longer have to hide. We no longer have to pretend that, we're not indigenous. Yes, we are. It's in our skin, it's in our hair, it's in our DNA. And I think it's a beautiful thing to celebrate and to understand our place in the world as indigenous people. Well, I dance for my ancestors. I began this practice when I was 10 years old. I'm 40. It's been 30 years since I first stepped into a dance circle. I think it's important to continue this tradition for our ancestors that weren't able to do this, as well as for the new generations. So I dance to bring that part of history, part of tradition, part of roots to the new generations, especially in our community.
I think of the time I spoke to my grandfather and asked him what tribe he came from, and he told me he was Wadrawuri. And in his whole life, in my whole life, he had never once told me that he was an indigenous man until one day I asked him. And I feel that, we have to have these conversations with our family members because they've given up so much, right, to be colonized, to be assimilated into the American culture because they were so afraid of speaking their languages. They were so afraid of dancing their ceremonial dances to practice their traditions. So by doing this, it's allowing us to, it allows us to heal those parts of our past. It allows us to continue the traditions that our family couldn't continue.
The impact is immense. It's extremely powerful because since I'm a protector of Mother Earth, just so you know, I'm a child of Mother Earth, as my elders have taught me, and I have a great connection to all creation. And so just joining the dance itself, to me, is like another form of medicine. Not only that, the energy that you bring and the connection with the universe that you have all together, because we're all interconnected as one. I feel that the dance alone has made me just become more connected in a way, if that makes sense. I just feel that it's been very powerful, very healing, very therapeutic, and just to be able to learn these old indigenous ways is there's also a sense of reconnecting to our indigenous values and to how our ancestors used to live before. So I think it's been very, very beautiful for me and very powerful.
It's important for us to reconnect with our indigenous roots because it was ours to begin with from the beginning. It's ours for us to reclaim. It gives us an eye-opening of, what we went through and why we're still fighting. It's a reminder that this is who we are and this is where we come from.
Danza is one of the art forms that lasted after the invasion of the Spanish. So by taking it back, by reclaiming it, by learning about it, by learning our history and our culture, and, it wasn't just the Mexica, it was different groups of people in Mesoamerica. We even share DNA with people of the North. In my case, I shared DNA with people of South America as well. So when you understand, this is a practice, and you start reconnecting to your indigenous roots just by dancing, really, and then you start getting more interested in learning by reading books, by watching documentaries, by going to school and study, by going to ceremony and talk to elders, and even talking to the elders of your family to understand where you come from. So I think that's important, and Danza is one of those vehicles to help you reach that destination. Danza is a medicine. It's a beautiful practice that you practice with your body, your strength, your stamina, your intelligence, your memory. It also helps you to pray, to reflect upon things. So Danza helps you with everything. It's a medicine that encompasses every single aspect of your life. It teaches you, it encourages you to learn about your history, about your roots. Where do you come from? Where did your ancestors came from? Who are your people? So Danza is one way to getting close to your roots, but also do that introspection, that introspective work to find out more about yourself, your capabilities, and what you can do for the community as well as for the next generation.
And the feeling that I get when I'm dancing is just a feeling of just pure joy, ecstasy in a way of sense. I just want to say just pure happiness. Like I feel when I come out, as soon as I put on my gear and start warming up and stretching, I just feel it's just a big sense of joy and relief, honestly, just because I'm telling you, the medicine is so strong. And also the people, makes also a big difference. But that's that connection, just knowing where we all come from and being able to share our stories and just that, I believe that once we all connect and we sit in our circle, that's a sacred circle, and we form a sacred hoop. And it's basically a form of prayer internally and externally. So with that connection, I'm in just a state of bliss, you know what I mean? So it's just a big ball of energy, and if you know how to accept it and you take it, it just it brings much joy to me. It opens my heart and my mind in a way I can't even imagine.
This dance is unique because it's been in dance in Mesoamerica since the time of the Olmecs, People think that it's just Aztec. It isn't. It's Mesoamerican. Mesoamerica is a whole territory. So our mother culture was the Olmecs. The Olmecs are about 8,000 to 7,000 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So imagine all those thousands of years that our ancestors were freely dancing and getting in community, because this was a tribal community dance that even from the Tlatoani, from the main ruler, all the way down to the peasants, everybody was doing it. So just to give continuation to that tradition and reconnecting people, showing people their roots with that to me means the world. If that's my mission in life, then by all means, I want to continue growing, I want to continue learning, and here we are, Calpulli Tlatelolco, going strong, 3 years.
I dance to reconnect to my ancestors. I dance for ceremony. I dance because dancing is therapy. I joined Calpulli Tlatelolco as a means to decolonize and to reconnect to my ancestral roots. I have ancestral roots in Chocolate, Michoacan, Zacatecas. I have roots in Chihuahua. I also have roots in New Mexico with the Tiwa Pueblo.
I believe it's very important that we learn all of these things that we used to do as far as what our indigenous ancestors used to do. They were banned from doing it for a reason, because it was very powerful. As far as the dance, the singing, the prayers, the ceremonies, the traditions, they knew how powerful it was and how it made us very peaceful as a people. We were the original stewards of the land here, all indigenous people were. And, because of colonization, it made us go into hiding, basically, very simply stated. And we've been battling a holistic genocide ever since. But now more recently, maybe the last 10 years, I've seen our people come back, having a sense of pride and being able to show their colors and be able to teach and share their stories and their ceremonies and dances, because all of us have a little bit different type of style or type of culture that we grew up with. But I believe our ancestors left little pieces of knowledge behind for us to find them and pick them up. They could be under a leaf, under a rock, in the winds, in the sun, in the moon, all the elements, all the medicines.
Where do I see myself? Hopefully still here, present, and with a lot more knowledge, a lot more patience, and hopefully, continue being a right-hand man to Ingrid, so that one day, when my time is right, hopefully have palabra for my Calpulli, or, and if not, I'm cool, just continue teaching.
The culture can educate people by a number of ways. For one, it teaches us about the land. It teaches us about language. It teaches us about instruments, ancestral roots. I'm someone who studies the calendar, and I feel dancing has allowed me to feel more inspired and more motivated to learn more about my ancestral roots. So, we host workshops to teach people about the calendar. We're going to be hosting workshops with the Calpulli for instruments. We're going to be doing things to show like permiso, like our dances and how those tie into our heritage, our traditions, and how we're leaving a lasting legacy to teach others the things that have been going on for the last couple hundred years now.
For 500 years, we've been taught that being brown or being indigenous was less than. You have more value as a person if you have European blood. Now we're seeing a shift of consciousness. And this shift, our ancestors knew about this shift, that we were gonna one day wake up, see who we are, face ourselves in the mirror and understand the beauty and just the greatness that we descend from. So the day that you understand the greatness that you descend from, the day that you study your culture, the day that you take the time to understand who am I as a person, what kind of individual am I? And when you start retaking that, indigeneity, it's gonna make more sense, your place in this planet, in this universe. It's gonna make more sense to you. So to me, embracing your roots and understanding them and getting to know them, because you can say, oh, I'm this, but are you practicing it? Are you reading about it? Are you studying it? That's something that one of the elders told me, like, what are you gonna do now that you know? What you gonna do with it? So my little contribution to our community is to teach Danza. That's my job. But everybody can do different jobs. Everybody can do different things that it's gonna benefit the community in general. So recognizing your roots and recognizing yourself as an indigenous person, it's where it begins, for a lot of us.
I believe this dance can educate the world, children, elders, all indigenous people, and even people who don't have indigenous backgrounds. And in a way, as far as simply saying that it's just to give them that feeling, if you know what I mean. Just see, like, if you go to any cultural event, there's some way they connect to it, whether it's through food, dance, song, prayer, having a workshop of making crafts. I mean, there's some type of connection that you have. Maybe you didn't know you had it, but we all have it inside of us. And it goes back to history as far as being disconnected. We've been disconnected for many years. Our people have been going through a holistic genocide since 1492. And that's the history side of it, where we can talk on another day. But as far as what it can bring to people, I think that it's very beautiful for you just to see one dance. And if you can maybe even participate in it a little bit, just to feel that feeling like I was talking about earlier, you can make that little connection. And because we have it in our DNA, it's in our blood. It's just as far as being able to find it again and reconnect and bring it back out.
We practice here at the East Las Vegas Community Center every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. What we do here is we dance, we sing cantos, we connect as a community, we learn about our culture, and we share.
East Las Vegas Community Center, this is our new place and home where we can dance and reconnect with our people and learn our indigenous ways, our dances, songs, and prayers, which I think are very important for us as a people and as a group.
Reconnecting for me has been a big journey, and it's been a big honor to be able to do cantos and danzas like our ancestors did. And because of that, and because of reconnecting, I feel powerful. I feel like I am where I need to be. And now having this place for our people has been a big plus. And, being able to hold open circle on Saturdays here at the Eastside Rec Center has been amazing. And, for those who want to reconnect and, take back what belongs to us, hopefully you guys come out on Saturdays.
This is East Las Vegas Community Center, and we help practice here every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So just come by, and you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to know anything. We'll teach you. We'll make sure that you as an individual are welcome in our circle, and start little by little with your practice. We welcome, everyone who has indigenous blood, who is indigenous, to join us in this ceremonial practice. It's going to enrich your life. It's going to make you, it's going to challenge you, but it's going to be beautiful. We have made friendships that, last a lifetime here. So it's a beautiful ceremony. It's a beautiful practice. So I highly recommend that you come and join us here at East Las Vegas Community Center on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Hello.